Just a quick note before I get started. This is going to be a little more boring than usual, if that's possible, but it is necessary. This next step I'm going to do is needed. Um, I just edited the video and was getting ready to post it and realized it's about 25 minutes. Um, but it's okay, I guess. You might want to watch it in 1.5 or 2 times speed, and you'll still be okay, probably. But before we start, look what I just got in the mail today. Yeah, it's a poacher model. This will be the next one after that one. It's got to be completely stripped down and rebuilt, so that'll be a fun one. So, without further ado, let's get into it. All right, so we are finally back on the Jaguar build. It's taking way too long. So where we left off last time, we had the front frame all primered, and this, I believe, is pretty much done. Hopefully, because I got the primer on it. Hopefully I don't have to solder anything else onto it. And of course it goes onto the bulkhead. So I've been working on the bulkhead here, and I've been looking at photos of the real car. And on the real car, they've got these raised sections here, just like that. Now in a real car, that might be a little bit skinnier, but I think this will be good. It's definitely better than how it was, I believe. And I made out of styrene, I just made a little pocket in here. There's something in here. I believe it's the windshield wiper motor. If any of you know, please let me know, because that would be nice to know what that is. That's just kind of what it looks like from the back side. I just put a big piece of styrene on the back, covered up a hole that was here. Made the little box here just out of pieces of styrene for that, I'm going to call it a windshield wiper motor, to set in here. Cut out some openings here and here, and kind of recessed those in. Again, on the real car, it looks like they're kind of pressed in. Same with this part right in here. I just softened the edges all the way around. I removed all of the molded on detail. That was just not correct. And started filling in some of the holes and stuff. So right now, I'm going to put a coat of primer on it, and that will help me see where I need to do more filling. So let's get a coat of primer on it and see what that looks like. Alright, so it's not terrible, but it's not as good as I was hoping first go. I guess it's not too bad. So I'm going to have to refine or smoothen out around here. That's a little bit rough. Same with around here. I got to smooth that out a bit. Same here. Got to fix some stuff going on here. Square that hole. I'm going to leave that because I think something goes there. Same with that one for now. It's not too bad. It's not too bad. Not as good as I was hoping. But, like I said, we'll just go in. You can still see a little line here. So I'll just go in with the filler and the sandpaper, and I'll just keep refining and priming and sanding and filling and priming and sanding until it looks good, until it looks the way I want it, which might take a while. So I'll get back to you once that's looking the way I like it. All right, so I got the front primered. This cage is just setting in here. It's not bonded in yet. So I got that filled and primered. I think it's where I'm liking it. There's a few little small spots I got to take care of, but for now we'll call that done. Now I still need to make a piece to fill in around here. It'll just be a little triangular piece to go around there, and same here, that those tubes kind of go against. And I also cleaned up, sanded everything off on the inside here, and I removed the speakers that were here because they're in the wrong spot. Every photo I've looked at shows the speakers up here more, and I didn't like the kit speakers anyways. So I've got pretty much a clean canvas here for the interior, and it'll be carpet and leather, and I'm debating what to put on the instrument, the bezels, and the center console here. A lot of the photos I see look like aluminum, like a brushed aluminum, or like a textured aluminum, or maybe it's stainless. I've also seen pictures, I think I've seen pictures with wood. If I can find a photo of at least one with like a wood grain in here, I might just go with wood. I think that would look nice. Put a piece of wood in there, stained oak or something like that, with a leather around here, carpeting. I'll get to all that later. Obviously, I can't do the interior till everything's painted because I don't want to have to mask off the interior when I paint. So I'm just thinking ahead. I'm getting ahead of myself there. It's probably ready to bond the frame into it, and then one more coat of primer and then paint. I don't want to paint yet until I got all the little details and parts on here, just in case I have to sand or drill or file or solder anything else on here. So that's waiting. I took this bottom pan, sanded it down. It had just a lot of weird glue stains. I think that's just a stain. I can't fill anything there. But just had some glue bumps and glue stains, so I sanded all that down. I sanded down along here, and this fits on like that. And I should be able to bond that on for good. However, I'm looking at photos of the real car, and every photo of the real car that I look at, this doesn't belong. It's like that needs to be cut off and then forward. It's got a piece here, but it should be cut off here and over. So, in other words, if we did that. So from all the photos I'm looking at, that much should be removed. I think. It's hard to tell. I did see one photo, again, one that looked like a bottom view, that kind of made that look like a separate panel, like just a lightweight dirt panel or something, or a shield panel that just kind of gets attached on after the fact. But almost every single photo I'm looking at of a rebuild of the real car, where they have the engine out and everything apart, it would look just like that if I removed that piece. So I'm still debating that. I don't know if I should do that or not. I'm going to leave it in for now because I can always take it out later, but it would be harder to add it back in. So if any of you know for sure, if any of you have worked on the real car and you know that that should be removed, please let me know in the comments. So that's one question I definitely have for many of you who know better than me, if that should be removed or not. Also, I started just kind of putting stuff together here. I put that under it just to kind of hold that up. And if I put this front piece on, and I just kind of hold it in place, hold it up like that, and I put the engine in, just kind of setting this down like that. Get that positioned a little bit better. Should go back about there. And if I take a front wheel, and I'm just going to rest that here where it would go. Obviously, the car itself is way too low to the ground, so I can't, and this is just the plastic piece, which I can't put in yet. I'm just putting it there for reference. So that sits about like that. So far things are looking good. That wheel looks good here. However, I'm having a problem when I fit this on place, roughly, loosely. This edge here needs to rest along that edge here. And when I put that on, it's missing this by about a 1/4 inch. I'll have to kind of get a side view of it. So let me just put this in place, and then I'll show you a side view of it so I can show you what I'm talking about. All right, obviously I had to take the wheel out because, again, the car is sitting flat on the ground and the wheel wouldn't fit. But right here, I've got about a 1/4 inch gap, about 6.5 millimeters here. So this bottom piece needs to push aft. All right, so the hood is setting pretty much where it needs to go. The wheel is centered nicely, I think, as best as I can tell. So it seems like this piece needs to go aft about a 1/4 inch. So let me put the camera back where it was, and then I'll show you the problems there. Okay, so if we take this back off, So again, as we said, this needs to move back about 1/4 of an inch. So let me get the engine out of the way. If we take a look at the original kit parts, so this one right here, for example, and we just kind of hold that up in place where that is, that looks correct. That looks right. And if we take the other part that came back here, I don't know if I can, best way to hold that so my hand is out of the way. Where's my tweezers or something? Yeah, it'd be nice if I was prepared. This will work. So if we put this, and again, I'm just doing that so my fingers will be out of the way, approximately where it went there, that's pretty much right as far as I can tell. I mean, I spent a lot of time measuring and laying this out so everything was correct. So the only thing that makes sense to me, the only thing I can figure out, is when you look at these pieces right here, right there, those look to be adjustable. Let me pull that out. So the way the kit was, that part there looks like it should slide in and out of here to be adjustable, but whoever made this glued those in solid. So I'm going to have to redo something here. So I think whoever did this had them too far out, and they should be shoved in more. Now I could, well, I don't know if I could or not. I was going to say I could move that back a little bit, but that would put the wheel too close to that edge. I still think this is correct. I think the problem is here. So I think what I'm going to do is just continue here and worry about fitting the hood later. I hope that's not a mistake. I hope that doesn't bite me in the butt later. But there's just so many different directions that I could go with this that I'm not exactly positive the best way. So I'm just going to do it, go for it, and hopefully it works out in the end. So now I have to decide the direction I want to go here. And I think what I'm going to do is start with all of the stuff that goes around here. Actually, what I might do first is make the little pieces that go in here. That'll just be styrene like this, you know, just got a little piece of styrene to go in here on each side. And also, when I look at pictures of the real car, there's a little corner piece that goes out this way as well, from about here to here. So I might have to make something there as well. But I think where I want to start spending most of my time now is making the stuff that goes around here. There's a container for, I'm assuming, windshield wiper fluid, windshield washing fluid. And again, I'm assuming the windshield wiper motor. And there's, I think it's a heater valve that goes here, throttle linkage that goes here. You got the brake booster and the clutch solenoid that goes here. And there's a fuel bowl filter thing here. So there's a lot of stuff I can start making and adding along here. So I think I want to start doing that. And I'll just make all the parts. I'm not going to attach anything because obviously I have to paint that first. But I'll start making the parts, and I need to get back on the engine. I would love to get the engine mounted, but I need to do some painting on the engine. But it's been really cold and crappy, and I don't know, it's just not good airbrushing weather. It's not good hanging out in the shop working on models weather either. So anyways, I'm just going to be plugging away here. I'll come back to you every once in a while when I have something to show you. So see you in a second. All right, on the real car, there would be like flanges around here where it bolts to the bulkhead. So a square flange and bolts and stuff. So I could solder on some flanges on those legs here, here, and here. But I thought of another way to do it, which would be easier, is to just put them on here. So I just cut out a styrene. This is just thin styrene like this, and just cut out some squares. Now I had to put a piece in here and around here, as we talked about before. And again, I'm just mimicking photos that I've looked at in the real car, and cut out piece to go around here And so now when the frame goes in, that'll be the flanges on the frame. Now I put those on with the frame installed. So with the frame in, I put all of those pieces on it so I could get it tight up against the frame. And then I cut out a whole bunch of little bolt heads, and I don't know how well it's going to focus on there. And as you can tell, my first one was a little bit too thin, so I had to go in and just add a little strip to make it a little bit thicker, and then get some bolt heads put on there. And is that not going to focus any better than that? If the camera would stop bouncing. Focus. No, I guess that's as good as it's going to get. No, that stinks. But trust me, the bolt heads are perfectly shaped and perfectly in scale. You just take my word for it. And they're probably not. But I missed one. I need to put one here. I got the two here. So what I did is I basically just cut a really thin strip of styrene, about 1.5 millimeter, and then cut it into squares, and then cut the corners off to make a hex head. Some are better than others. I think once it's all primered and all painted and everything fine, I think they'll all look perfectly believable. And you know, if you're the type of person who would go to the real car and take a pair of calipers to the flanges and the bolts, and then take a pair of calipers to mine and tell me that they're a little bit off, well, maybe this is the wrong channel for you to be watching. They're close enough. They're good enough to be believable. My goal with this is just to, if somebody's looking at a photo, I want it to take at least 2 seconds for them to realize that it's a model and not the real car. You know what I mean? That's there are some really talented builders out there who would make it exact. I mean, perfect, exact. For me, as long as it looks good, as long as it looks believable, I'm happy with it. I've eyeballed pretty much everything on here from photos. I truly believe that once it's all together and all painted and all the other details on there, it's gonna look really good. And I'm happy with it. I'm okay with it. So I think at this point, what I'm going to do is put a coat of primer on that. Well, I got to put one more bolt on there. One more bolt. I don't know how I missed that. Apparently, I just forgot to make one. So I'll put one more here, and I'll get a coat of primer on that, and then see what it looks like. And that'll tell me where I need to add or fill or whatever. So let's get a coat of primer on it and just see what it looks like after that. Alright, so I think it looks better with once it's all primered the same color. That primer is still wet. And so once that dries, I'll just go over it with probably some 500 grit, whatever that is. Yeah, 500 grit, just to smooth it up so that the color coat goes on a little bit better. And again, this is all just eyeballed from photos. So I think it looks pretty good. I'm happy with it. All of this down here probably won't even be seen, because once you get the heater unit on and the battery, probably won't even see any of that stuff. But yeah, I think it looks good. So I'm going to let that dry, sand it, and then I will put the frame on it in its final position and epoxy it in place. And that's kind of a big step, because once that's together, there's no taking it back off. So I got to really make sure that when I put that on, it's perfectly positioned and aligned. So that's going to take a little bit of time. And the idea is to fasten it on where all of the little posts go through, like just for example, that one. That sets pretty much flush on the back side of that. What I plan on doing is everywhere they come through, like there and there is I'm going to take a brass rod, probably something like this one. This one should fit right inside. Yeah. So that'll go inside. I'm going to take a piece of brass rod and probably JB weld it inside. Actually, here, let me just show you. If we smash an end and bend it over like that, and then cut it off about, I don't know, half an inch, and then take that through the backside end, JB welded, and have that epoxied to the backside, that should lock that in pretty solid, pretty tight. And plus, where these right here, where those rest right in here, those will also get bonded on there as well. So they'll be bonded in at every point. So that looks like a little reaction here. I don't know if you can see that on camera or not. Right there. Hopefully that'll sand out. Not quite sure what happened with that, but hopefully that'll sand out smooth. But yeah, so I'll get back with you once this is all bonded in place, and then we'll see what the time is looking like for the video, because I don't want this to get too long. It doesn't feel like I really did that much. I mean, I basically got this to the way the kit should have been in the first place. A lot of work just to make it to the way it should have been. So anyways, I'm going to stop talking. I'm going to let the paint dry. I'm going to get that bonded in, then I'll show you what that looks like when that part's done. Okay, so the frame is bonded in, and again, brass pins in with JB weld, and JB welded here, and on the back side here, and CA'd in here and here. This thing is locked in, not going anywhere. I also put some CA around each of the seams here, so that the plate here would look like it's part of the frame welded on. And that's that. I think that's looking pretty good. I could go ahead and bond it onto that piece right here. I don't think there's anything stopping me from doing that. Oh, I also added these pieces here, and again, just to mimic what I'm seeing on pictures of the real car. I need to primer that first. So I need to get some primer in here. I'll probably also go ahead and paint the color in here, because I think once this is bonded on here, it might be hard to get a good angle for there to get some paint in there, maybe. I don't know. So yeah, that's coming along. So the next step, other than primering that, is I want to start getting some of the stuff here, some of these accessories done. And my original plan was to start here with the fuel bowl and the fuel lines, and then the windshield washer reservoir, and just work my way around. But for some reason, I picked up the battery and started working with the battery, which sits right over here. The battery, as the kit goes, is pretty good. I'm not hating it. But there is something I'm not liking, and that's the fact that it flares out. The sides are not square. So I do want to fix that. So I started with these corners. I cut the corners out. So what I can do then is pull that in. Once the corners are cut, pull that in square, and just square the whole thing up, and then paint it, and then the battery should be good to go. So I'll keep working on that. After that, I'll start over here with all these accessories around here. And I kind of feel like this video is getting to be a little bit long, so I think what I'm going to do, it doesn't feel like I got a lot of work done, but I think I did. I mean, I got the frame mounted solid. I got the little things on here. I got the firewall the way I like it, for the most part. And I'm ready to start on the accessories that go along there. So I think I got quite a bit done. Doesn't look like a lot, but it feels like a lot. So I'm going to end it here, just because I feel like it's getting too long and I'm rambling. So yeah, well, like I said, I think I mentioned earlier, but if any of you are familiar with the real car, let me know, if I should cut that section here out or not. It'd be something like that. All right, let me know if I should cut that out or not. At the very least, what I'll do is I'll scribe in like a panel line, maybe put some fake screw heads or something to make it look like those are covers that just got screwed on. But if those don't belong, let me know in the comments, please. I'd appreciate it. So, like I said, I'm going to end it here. So until next time, thanks for watching.